All right, thank you so much for staying with us this morning. We'd like to talk about one or two other issues this morning, and our guest is Ekemini Udim, who is a legal practitioner. He is principal partner, Justice Chambers Uyo, and social commentator as well. He joins us virtually from Uyo. Thank you for joining us this morning, Mr. Udim. Okay, so quick one. What's your own take on the handling of the Tigress? To be honest with you, a good number of people were wondering, wait a minute, are we going to have the same situation we had, where the federal government gave the Falcons $100,000 equivalent in Naira, and the Tigress, maybe they won't get the same thing because basketball is is probably not as prominent in Nigeria as soccer, and they're wondering maybe the federal government would give $100,000 to anyone, for instance, who comes first in the world playing Ayu, the local local game. I'm just thinking. So, but what's your take on that, on the gifts that the president handed, the reward that the people got, that the D Tigress got, from their own winnings as well?
Well, I think both of them are champions, and therefore, what is good for the goose is also good for the gander, and therefore, the president has himself set the benchmark by offering so much for the first set of people that won. And a lot of Nigerian citizens have commended the president for that, because I think that this is the first time that our footballers, have gotten so much from the presidency. And I expect that the same should be done to everyone. Like I said, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. Anybody that has emerged victorious, anybody that has represented Nigeria at the global level and has brought glory to the country should be rewarded equally. That's my thinking.
Hmm. Well, you don't also query the fact that when you convert 100,000, when you make an attempt to convert $100,000 to naira, which is what the president intended both times, that it'll come to something in the region of 150 million naira to each person. The criticism that has followed that one is the fact that retired police personnel are not getting as much as anything, close to that. But the people who play just one tournament of like how many weeks, they get such a reward, but pensioners do not get as much as they ought to get. What's your take? What's your reaction to that criticism?
Well, it's not the footballers that have stopped the presidency or the government of Nigeria from giving what is due to the persons that have served this country. So I think the discussion should not be mixed. These ones have gone out there, and it's not also easy to win a trophy. It's not easy. I mean, you're contesting against a lot of people from across the world, from across Africa, and all that, and then you come out victorious. So much is invested before you can come out victorious. So I think that Nigerians should not mix these. They deserve that reward by the president. Like I said, it's about the first of its kind, and I must commend the president for that. Let it not be the narrative in Nigeria that you go out there, you do so well, and then you are not compensated. You are not given what your counterparts out there are being given. Now, to the issue of those that have served this country for many years and they have retired, they have risked their lives, and the government of Nigeria or whoever is in charge of their payments refuses or delays in the payment, it is a sad narrative for our country, Nigeria. And I think it is something that the current president of Nigeria should do everything to put in the board to end that cycle. Because, I mean, how do you explain someone who entered into the public service when he was still very young, he or she was still very young, just came back from NYSC and then enrolled, or some just enlisted in the military, at young ages, and then all of a sudden, I mean, they have served 35 years, and at the end of the day, they are not paid. It is not good for Nigeria. Now, let's borrow what's happening with the multinational companies. As you enter, as you begin to get your first salary, a percentage of it is set for you. At your exit point, they call you to get your paycheck. You don't even need to apply. So I think that Nigeria should borrow that template from the multinational companies that are even operating in this country. How many times do you hear former employees of Mobil, Shell, and all that, doing protests? They don't do it because there's a system that ensures that as soon as you enter, money is being served so that as you exit, you get the check and go home and do what you want to do with it. So it is something that Nigeria needs to correct. It is very bad to see elderly people who had spent their entire lives working for Nigeria, their most productive lives working for Nigeria, going to protest, carry placards, some of them carrying walking sticks and all that. I think it is not a good thing for Nigeria as a country.
Well, I think we have to do a lot more than just wishing it away. You are not unaware that recently we've been having these protests by retired security personnel. Not too long ago, the police protested, and I think another protest is the one that is a more recent one, is the one that informed that the IGP had to speak to, which informed him also writing to the National Assembly that the police pension system should be, that the police should be removed from the contributory pension scheme. The first question in my head about that one was, hey, if the Police Service Commission is responsible for the employment and all of those things concerning the policemen that we have, how come it's the IGP that is speaking to that? Well, you may want to speak to that. But also yesterday, it is reported that military personnel also protested, and for one reason or the other, they are not also getting their benefits. So it begs the question. So it's not like the federal government cannot do anything. Why things aren't being done as and when they should? That's the question we should be asking. And this is not the first time. And if we're talking about retired personnel, that's just one. How about the general, retired civil servants who spend 35 years or, retire when they are age 60 or whatever age they retire now? We really need to be very, very proactive about that, shouldn't we?
No, we certainly need to be proactive about it. And then we must show respect for the persons that have served this country. Most times when I see this, I see it as a country, sorry to say it, that doesn't have that respect and regard for the persons that spend so much of their, number of years working for the country. Remember, they started working at a time they were not taking drugs for hypertension, medicine for hypertension, and other ailments. At the time of their retirement, their bodies have become weak. They now need to be supported by the same country that they worked for. And it is always very sad to see them carry placards. And it's something that happens not only at the federal level, it's also happening in states of the federation where primary school teachers are not paid, secondary school teachers are not paid. Some of them, they just keep asking for the money until they pass on without receiving the money. I mean, I have a friend whose father passed on some days ago. The father was owed by governments. They had gone to courts. They obtained judgment of the court asking governments to pay. Government has refused to pay, and the man has passed on. And that's a whole lot of injustice for that family. Eventually the money might be paid. Who are you paying it to? The man that worked for it, the man that needed the money to be able to take care of himself, to also show how the country has appreciated him and how the state has appreciated him, has died. So I think it is something that Nigeria needs to look into. We need to, declare state of emergency on these very aspects of our nationhood, where people work and they are not asking for extra money. They're asking for you to give to them what you have been deducting from them every month. And it is so unacceptable that what had always been taken from your salary every month and said to be kept for you, at the time of your retirement, that money that was kept for you cannot be found. We need to interrogate a lot. Where is this money? Who took this money? And where is, we need to make government officials accountable and to ensure that those that work for this country, are properly paid. Now, when you talk about the police, I've seen, thanks to social media, I've seen retired policemen, coming out to show to the country what they have been paid. I think that of the police is even so ridiculous. And something needs to be done in this direction. These are people that bear arms every day, working for Nigeria. Some of them die in the course of duty. Some of them lose one part of the body or the other. And then a policeman will work for 35 years, and you give him something so ridiculous like 3 million naira. I think Nigeria can do better than this, because this is not a poor country. I've said it repeatedly. This is not a poor country. God has blessed this country with natural resources. And if the resources are properly harnessed and then properly taken account of, I am sure that everybody that works for Nigeria, everybody that works for any state of the federation, would have reason to retire smiling and being able to take care of himself and take care, of his family. It's not about the IGP going to the National Assembly to ask for intervention. Nigeria's problem is not about, absence of laws. We have so many laws. There have been laws that have been made to address this issue of pension. But the problem of this country, has to do with implementation of the laws. So let us go back, let the IGP go back to the laws available already and look at the level of implementation. How far has the police implemented this? And whatever needs to be done to be able to take these situation out of the country,
pardon me,
and make it
Mr.
possible that when
Udim.
I
I think
retire,
one of the areas that I would always want to go about, as far as police welfare is concerned, and I hope I'm not biting my tongue here, is that the Police Service Commission ought to come out. They are the ones that recruit police officers. What were the terms of engagement? What were the what are the conditions of service that they give them? What are the promises made to them that when you retire, this is how much you're going to get? And we have had, retired personnel come, on this program in particular, and to complain about this or that. And that's really unacceptable. It also leads to this question around, okay, so some people have joined the service at age 25, they spend 35 years, and then they're going to get what? I'm just wondering how we're going to go with all of that one. So many other things to raise with you, Mr. Udim, but I sincerely appreciate your time because we are out of it right now. Kemini Udim is a legal practitioner, as we told you earlier. He is a principal partner, Justice Chambers, Uyo. He's also a social commentator. He joined us virtually from Uyo in Akwa Ibom State. We appreciate your time this morning, Mr. Udim.
Many thanks for having me.